Good morning, students. Today we are going to see our next chapter for coordination chemistry, crystal field theory, CFT. Before CFT, up till now, we see the different concepts and different theories which explain the bonding in coordination compounds. Now we are going to see the new concept of the bonding in metal and ligand in coordination compounds, which is the electrostatic bonding between the metal and the ligand. This concept was explored by crystal field theory. The use of hybridization as suggested by Pauling helped to interpret the geometrical shape of complexes, but hybridization by itself failed to account for the voluminous data which rapidly accumulated. There were unexplained the differences between the measured and calculated magnetic moments. The compounds were found which had intermediate values of their magnetic moments. The distinction between the ionic and covalent bonding in complexes seemed to be confusing. The difficulties overcome the interpretation of geometrical shapes. For example, the square planar shape of CuNH3 2 plus and particularly the distorted shapes of still greater importance. Pauling's idea offered little or no explanation for the absorption spectra of the complex or of their relative stabilities or reactivities. Such a problem leads to a radical version of ideas concerning the nature of the bonding in complexes. The new theory called crystal field theory was first introduced by Bethe and Van Vleck in 1930 and applied mainly to ionic crystals, but Orgel was largely responsible for developing its general chemical aspects. On the basis of this theory, a complex is regarded as an aggregation of central ion surrounded by other ions or molecules with electrical dipoles. The electrical field of the central ion will affect the surrounding region, while the combined field of the ligand and will influence the electron of the central ion. The effect of ligands is particularly marked on the d electrons, which plays such a large part in complex formation. By tra- transition elements, the influence of the ligand and depends on their geometrical position in the complex. In the simplest of the problem concern the bonding between central ion and the ligand is regarded as purely ionic, so that the forces involved can be limited to electrostatic force. This theory does not consider covalent bonding. Such unlimited treatment is generally referred to as the crystal field theory. The modified treatment, which includes the covalent bonding, is called ligand field theory, was used to explain the colors and magnetic properties of the crystalline solids. CFT has some assumptions. See the assumptions of the crystal field theory. The crystal field theory is based on following assumptions. First, in a complex, the transition metal ion is placed in the center and it is surrounded by ligands with lone pair of electrons. Second, The ligands are have the negative ions like Cn minus or Cl minus, or they are neutral molecules like H2O, NH3, and they are considered as point charges. If the ligand is neutral molecule, then the negative end of the dipole is directed towards the metal ion. There is no interaction between metal orbitals and ligand orbitals. The attraction between metal ion and ligand is purely electrostatic. The bond, that is, the bond is ionic, 100% ionic. Fifth, the electrons of the metal ion repel by negative field of the ligands, and therefore the metal electron occupies those d orbitals which have their lobes far away from the direction of the ligands. 6. The number of ligands and their arrangement around the metal ion determines the nature and strength of the crystal field. 7. The degeneracy of d orbital of metal ion is removed by the ligands when a complex is formed. See the steps of d orbital. Since the d orbitals and their occupancy plays an important role in the coordination compound, it is necessary to study their steps and distribution in the space. In the below figure, see there are 5 d orbitals. All 5 d orbitals are not identical, and there there are in fact two sets of orbitals, the dx square minus y square and dz square orbitals form one set, and the orbitals which have lobes lying along the mutually perpendicular x, y and z axis, the dxy, dyz, dxz orbitals form the second set and have the lobes pointing in between the axes. See here there are the first set, that is dxy, dyz, dxz, which having the lobes in between the axes. They are called T2z orbitals. And second, the dx square minus y square and dz square orbitals, they having lobes on the axis, and this set is called as the EZ set. Thus there are two sets of d orbitals, T2z and EZ. T2z 3 orbitals which having lobes in between the axis, EZ orbitals 2 orbitals which having the lobes on the along the axis or on the axis. Group theoretical symbol. The dx square minus y square and dz square orbitals are collectively denoted as EZ, and the dxy, dyz, dxz orbitals are collectively denoted as T2z. Symbol T means there are 3 degenerate orbitals, and the symbol E means there are 2 degenerate orbitals. Degenerate means equal in energy. The symbol G stands for Girard, German German word meaning is even. The orbital is said to be Girard if it is centrosymmetric, that is, it has the same sign of the wave function and the same distance in opposite direction from the center of symmetry. The symbol U stands for ungirard, German word meaning uneven. The orbital is said to be ungirard if it changes the sign of wave function at the same distance in opposite direction from the center of symmetry. The unsymmetrical orbitals are and the symmetrical orbitals are the Girard, that are p and f orbitals are ungirard, that is u. The easy orbitals are degenerate. P2J orbitals are triply degenerate. In addition to the symbol, sometimes the subscripts 1 and 2 are also used. The subscript 1 and 2 means respectively that the orbital do not change sign on rotation about the axis, and that they do not change sign on rotation about the axis diagonal to the axis. Thus, the metal S and p orbitals are designated as A1G and T1U. The symbol A denotes the singly degenerate orbitals. Degeneracy of d orbital. See in the figure, there is the particularly crystal field splitting in an octahedral field. In a free metal ion, 5 d orbitals are degenerate, that is energetically equals, and electrons which occupy the such orbitals do not do so according to the rules of maximum multiplicity. Crystal field theory is basically concerned with the effect of different arrangements of surrounding ligands on the energy of d orbitals. The ligands exert an electrostatic field which leads to repel the electrons, particularly the outer d orbital of the central metal ion. The repulsion raises the energy level of the d orbitals in the central metal ion. If the d orbital were all alike and the ligaments and the ligand field affected them all in the same way, the 5 d orbitals remains degenerate at the higher energy level. This is we see in the figure also. In fact, d orbitals are not all alike. They form two groups according to their orientation in space. Those d orbitals lying in the direction of the ligands are repelled more and raise their energy with respect to those lying away from the ligands. As a result, degeneracy of d orbitals becomes differentiated in presence of the ligands. This effect is known as crystal field splitting. This concept formed the basis of crystal field theory. By preferentially filling the low-lying d orbitals by electrons in the complex may be stabilized. The gain in the bonding energy achieved in this way is called crystal field stabilization energy, CFS